Hello, Awesome Games Done Quick 2026 Submission Committee. My name is TurtleRun2412, and this is my submission for Pit People Any %. Pit People is a very silly game made by the Behemoth, the same devs who made Castle Crashers and Battle Block Theater. But instead of being a beat 'em up or a platformer, this is a top-down turn-based tactics game akin to Fire Emblem or XCOM. So it's completely different genre. Behemoth loves completely reinventing themselves, and I think this is their best game. I adore this game so much, and I would absolutely love to show it off. One quick note for GDQ specifically, this game does feature cartoons gore, like people's skeletons exploding out in fountains, like Mortal Kombat. We can, however, turn this off, where all of the blood is replaced with sweat and all of the bones are replaced with flowers, because why the hell not? It's funny. I am going to do this run with this on, but if Games Committee would like me to turn that off, that is extremely easy, because we do have to actually visit this menu in between every single run, just to do some quick setup. But if you do want a little bit of a note of how silly this game can be, this is the sound effect they use to test out the sound effects. It's a fart. Oh, I love this game so much. If that wasn't convincing enough of how goofy this game is, there is a poop button in this game. You can poop, and that is a mechanic. It's not a mechanic that I will use, or at least it's not one that adds anything to the speedrun, but maybe I'll show it off just to be funny about it. Again, this game is great. I don't know how else to describe it. I love this game so much. But now that we have our new file set up, and we are all ready to go, Pit People Any % begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And here we go, immediately getting off to some free time loss because I support the Behemoth and purchased their other games, and therefore have to go through that animation of unlocking their items. And we're already off to a bad start with our first RNG of the game, going up poorly, but it's fine. There will be a lot more RNG to go through that, so I'm going to quickly set up some of my starting units. I will talk about who those are in a sec, but we're already going to grab our first quest, some items, and we're off to the races in less than 30 seconds out from the hometown. Oh boy, yeah, there's a lot to discuss with this game. First off, let me figure out what map I am on and where we are within that map. I'm going to nitro you. Oh, I know where we are. Okay. We can actually go up and around, I believe. No, we can't. So, world maps. There are 5 different world maps. They're all really big. They all have a bunch of different spawn locations. So, we're already seeing me trying to figure out which map I'm on, and I got it now. But I just had a little bit of a right there, because, I was trying to figure out everything that's going on in the first 30 seconds of the game, which can be a little hard. But now that we are comfortably in our first map, let's begin to discuss our characters. So, first off, you see our 5 canon characters here. In the tutorial, which I skipped because it's slow, the game wants you to recruit another one. And since you move here, you move down here, you come here, that'll work. Okay. Since we didn't recruit another character because we skipped the tutorial, the game gives us one for free. However, we only have access to 2 different unit types, those being humans, these 4, and cupcakes, this one. And though they function very, very differently, because cupcakes, first off, our healer class, they do, you'll stay here, there. Cupcakes will not deal damage to anything ever under any circumstances. They are pacifists. I also have a little plushie one right here. But you know what, Cupcake? You are useless. Boop! Because I want to do violence and murder, and the destruction of my enemies, etc., etc. So, Cupcakes not doing any of that means that they are relatively useless, and the fact that we got our extra unit to be a Cupcake instead of another human, it's unfortunate, but we will still make use out of these Cupcakes in some ways by leaving them behind as sacrifices. So our humans who actually do things can, unga bunga and actually do things. So let's talk about our 4 canon human characters here as I sort out the Cupcake squad to try and get them to group up a little bit. But first and foremost is Sophia. Sophia has a light sword and a net. And the light sword hits multiple times, so despite its low damage, it can actually output decent numbers, so long as the unit doesn't have armor. but the net deals exactly 0 damage to anything ever. And so you might be wondering, okay, hold on, Turtle, you just were like being really angry at the cupcakes for dealing 0 damage. Why would you give Sophia a net that deals 0 damage? Good question, hypothetical viewer. Well, the net has 2 main uses. One, it is extremely light. Item weight determines how far a unit can move. So while most humans have base 3 movement, between the light sword and the net, Sophia actually has 4 movement. So she will be able to zoom very, very fast and start setting up objectives before some of my other humans can get there, which is really nice. Second use of the net is for the recruitment mechanic, which we'll talk about next map. Not this map, but you know, it's extremely important. Keep your mind on that recruitment mechanic. Next up on our list, let's talk about the blondie here, Yosef. Yosef has a weapon known as the throwing axes. You two can stay down here, you're kind of surrounded anyways. And those throwing axes, as you can see right down in the corner there, can be used from range. So you'll notice that in these early chapters especially, a lot of areas are pretty tight corridors. And so Yosef being able to attack from range just gives him a little more flexibility, even if his damage output isn't as high as our final 2 units, who are Pipistrella, I call her Pippi. She's just named Pippi. As Pippi, and of course, our main character, the guy with the twirly-whirly mustache, who is Horatio. Both of these two have been given helmet smashers. I think they're called mallets in game, but I call them helmet smashers because they deal bonus damage against units with helmets, like this boss, Helmetor, or his minions, the Helmetites, who wrote Helms Forever on their spaceship. You can see why dealing bonus damage against helmets might be somewhat useful in this chapter, just a little bit. So yeah, these two will be dealing a lot of bonus damage, as you can see with all these +1 numbers appearing over Helmetor. It's quite good. Beyond that, you'll also notice some crowns floating around Horatio. You get to designate one of your 6 units to be a hero, and that unit gains basically a bonus to every relevant stat for that unit type. So that means Horatio does bonus, you move here, there we go. We got a surround. So he deals bonus damage, has bonus health, has bonus movement, bonus block chance with that big fence shield that he's holding. It's very good. And we will be switching our hero unit eventually later on in the run, but for now, Horatio is going to be our best unit because of that buff. Both of our cupcakes survived. That is extremely rare. Usually I leave them to, sacrifice themselves and distract some of the enemies. But I guess Gluten and Ginger just really wanted to show off today. So I guess that's fine. But as we now make it into map 2, a couple more things I want to quickly talk about. The first of that, oh boy. The first of that is enemy spawn numbers. This is one of the reasons why we do want to sacrifice our cupcakes most of the time, because having more allies alive does affect this. Because on every map in the game, except for that first one, a random number of units can spawn in. It is absolutely not fixed. So on this map, I've seen as low as 3 units spawn. We got 6. This is extremely bad luck. And again, it's almost certainly because our cupcakes are alive, and therefore the game is like, oh, you have 6 units, I can spawn 6 units. Unfortunately, we only have 4 actually active units, because our cupcakes, again, pacifists. I threw mine on the ground earlier, but it is stinky and bad. Let me think here. We want to get everyone moving around. I do kind of want to keep Gluten alive because this could get dangerous. Yeah, okay, I got to think a little bit about this just because there are so many enemies on this map. So I'm going to maybe focus up a little bit. But to keep talking about some of the things that we really ought to get talking about if you want to understand this game. Targeting RNG. Okay, Gluten is dead. Yeah, this could get hairy quickly. It's fine, though. We'll make it work. Play it where it lies, Squidward. You stay here. We might sack Yosef, actually. Oh, well. But, there we go. He's showing off what I was about to talk about, which is targeting RNG. So if you've played Fire Emblem before, or XCOM, you know that usually you get to move your units and then choose who they pick, what weapon they do, what skills sometimes. However, in Fire Emblem, or not in Fire Emblem, in Pit People, you might notice that isn't happening. I just choose where my units move. And so who they attack is actually decided at random. That means that I have to be extremely strategic about my positioning in order to get things done in the way I want them to be done. So for example, if a unit is only standing next to one enemy, like I'm going to have all of my allies doing here, that is a guaranteed chance to target that enemy. So everyone is targeting exactly who I want them to because of my setup. However, if a unit were to be standing next to two enemies, like for example, if I didn't move Yosef here, he has a 50% chance to target Electronica and a 50% chance to target Mortimer. Ooh, this is getting a little hairy. No, I need to get the archer to move. Okay. So a lot of this game's strategy comes down from carefully positioning my units so that they have the highest chance to hit the enemies, while at the same time, the enemies don't attack my key units. Notably, Sophia here is required to survive this chapter for the strategy that we use, so I am purposely keeping her extremely safe. You move here. And fighting this archer in the back. So yeah, keep that in mind. Every single time I move, I am explicitly trying to manipulate the RNG in my favor. I'm going to sack Yosef here. The AI sees that he's low and that he's exposed, aka they can get 100% chance to hit him. So I'm going to sack him. That's a little unfortunate, but he is absolutely the weakest link at this point. We are now down to just 3 units against 5 enemies. Oh boy. But we do have an ace up our sleeve, which is, like I mentioned earlier, the recruitment mechanic, or as I like to call it because it's funnier, kidnapping. So in this game, you move here, you move here, you move here, go. When there's only one enemy unit left on the entire board, you can throw a net at them in order to kidnap them or recruit them if you want to be, normal about it. But I'm not normal. This game is not normal, so I'm going to call it kidnapping forever. You can throw a net at an enemy unit to kidnap them. And so you might have noticed I'm not actually fighting Helmetor, the boss, like the game wants me to do. That's because we are going to be kidnapping Helmetor and adding him to our team. As the first boss of the game, Helmetor is pretty powerful. And so getting him to join our ranks is a very, very strong boon. You stand... Okay, we're going to sacrifice Pippi here. Deaths don't matter. I turn off permadeath because, yeah, it would be extremely bad if permadeath was on. So, boop, she's probably going to die here. You can see just how much stronger Helmetor is than our units. He just dealt double damage. But since he's the last unit alive, we can kidnap him. And now Helmetor is one of our party members that I can control. And he is so good. Helmetor is really, really strong. He won't be our hero unit for a reason that I'll get into in a sec, but he will be immediately joining our party. And one of the best things about Helmetor is that he takes up 2 unit slots. He's a type of unit known as a Cyclops, and so with him, I get rid of both of my cupcakes. We do not have to worry anymore about any pacifist healers on our team. Everyone on my team now does Unga Bunga damage, which is great. We love Unga Bunga damage in pet people speedrunning. So, yeah, Cyclopses are, they take up 2 space, but in return, they have a lot of health. They are very tanky and also deal a lot of damage, as you just saw. It's up here, I believe. Yes, it is. So, the big other downside, aside from them taking up 2 spaces, is that Cyclopses are slow. While humans have base 3 movement, Cyclopses have base 2. And if I give Helmetor my hero buff, he does not actually get any more movement out of that. Unlike Horatio, who does get +1 movement. So he's going to be a very slow tank, but there are a couple of strategies that I will use to hopefully minimize his amount of time moving and maximize his amount of time clobbering stuff. But here we are at Treat Retreat Retirement Home, and I think this is about as good of a time as any for me to describe the plot. We are here at Treat Retreat Retirement Home to murder a bunch of cupcakes. There's a whole chain of events that led up to this. I'm going to murder these cupcakes and tell you, Horatio, in the intro, his son Hansel is kidnapped by a giant space bear. And if that's bad, we're going to try and get Hansel back. But we sort of destroyed Helmetor's spaceship in the last cutscene that I skipped. Oops. So in order to get to space, we need another spaceship. But no one knows where a spaceship is except Yosef, who you can see has 1 eye in his head, but he actually has another eye. He is a demi-cyclops. And that other eye is prophetic or like psychic or something. It can tell us where another spaceship is. But Yosef lost his other eye. So we need to find it, and the only person who knows where Yosef's other eye is his friend, who is currently at the Bloodbath Lagoon, which is a ticket-only location. And we were going to get the ticket, but this guy, Jerkamedes, stole the last golden ticket from us. And so we chased him here, and he was like, hey, if you want me to give you this ticket back, you have to destroy this old people home full of cupcakes, which I am doing a very, very terrible job at right now. Luckily, it's fine, because Jerkamedes goes, I'm going to destroy you all! Wait, you are trolling me? Ha, that's actually kind of funny. And so you can just beat this chapter by doing nothing, and it's way, way faster than actually attempting combat. So, we now have the golden ticket, so we can go to the Bloodbath Lagoon, so we can find Yosef's friend, so we can find Yosef's eye, so we can find a spaceship, so we can go to space, so we can save Hansel from the giant space bear who kidnapped him. Do you have any questions? No? Good! There will be a test later on in the run, probably. That joke is overused, but who cares at this point? We have gotten our golden ticket back from Jerkamedes, and is that going to be a money spot? I'm going to test it anyway. Not going to be a money spot, oh well. So we can now head back to the home. You do have to go back to the base after every chapter. A couple of them will warp you there automatically, but most of the time you do have to do the backtracking. So we go grab another nitro, because nitro is zoom zoom. Even though we don't want to spam it too much because we have a very limited supply. This is not New Game Plus where we have a boatload of money. This is New Game. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I forgot which map we're on already. Lol. So yeah, like I said at the beginning, there are 5 overworld maps, and I believe in 3 of them, Bloodbath Lagoon is up in the top right of the map. This is one of the exceptions, where Bloodbath Lagoon is not in the top left and is in fact top right and is in fact in the bottom left. So some of the chapters are extremely what's the word for it? They go to the same spot on the map basically every time. This chapter is not one of those. So yeah, it can either be in the top right most of the time or the bottom left some of the time, but we made it here anyways. And chapter 3 is where we really begin to dig into the RNG factor of this game. So I did already mention the number of units that can spawn is going to be random. And on this map, we got a worse than average spawn. You can start with either 2 units or up to 5 units. So 2 and 3 would be better than average. 4, as we see here, worse than average. But okay, we're going to get good cannon RNG at least. So that is good. The other big RNG on this chapter, or this map at least, is the cannons. So the enemy has 3 cannons on their ship. I have 3 cannons on my ship. And just like you cannot control who you attack, you also do not get to control where your cannons will target. So my cannons are going to target completely random spaces on any boat. The enemy's cannons are going to target completely random spaces on my boat. What we really want is to damage that unit that just spawned, the green unit Leviatha, the green snake lady. Unfortunately, that has not happened, and now we are going to get kind of pummeled by some of these cannons. So the spaces directly in the center of each cannon are guaranteed knockback spaces. So if I were to try and activate my own cannons, I would get knocked back off of them, which sort of defeats the purpose. So unfortunately, the RNG targeting my cannons means that I cannot fire these 2 this turn. But hopefully I'll target their cannons. Oh, we're getting pretty bad cannon RNG already. This is a little oopsie doopsies, but we play where it lies, Squidward, and we will figure out a way to make it work nonetheless. Yeah, unfortunately only 1 more cannon. But yeah, the RNG in this game is extremely swingy, and sometimes runs will just like gain like 2 minutes. Like World Record did, and sometimes runs will just like lose 2 minutes, like non-World Record runs do. Okay, we're finally targeting an enemy cannon. That is good, getting some damage off on those 2, and we're gonna have a 3 cannons set up here. We're gonna leave her here. Okay. So yeah, cannons extremely random. Enemy unit spawns extremely random, and we just have to strategize around it as best we can, which is honestly I think one of the charms and one of the strengths of this Pit People as a speed game, is that it's almost like a randomizer in certain ways. Everything is different every time, and you just have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And I don't know, I love that about this game. It just makes it so, again, it's like a randomizer, but it's not actually a randomizer. Oh, by the way, listen to the audience in game here. They're gonna chant something. Jog, 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 jog. The in-game audience will be doing that again for even longer as we transition to the second map. And so what I would really love is for the real-life audience of GDQ to join me in chanting and summoning the one, the only, the Chog, after we defeat Captain Leviatha, who is the boss of map 1. Captain Leviatha is a type of unit known as a... You stand here, you stand here. Okay. Captain Leviatha is a type of unit known as a Gorgon. They're pretty similar to Cyclopses in that they are big and tanky and take up 2 spots in your party if we were to recruit them. We're not going to recruit Leviatha because it is faster to kill her, and unlike Helmetor, her damage is pretty low. The big gimmick with Gorgons is that sometimes when they are hit, they will spawn these little mooks here. You can see down there, that guy's named Celery Stick. That's a little goofy, weird little name. Very pit people. Yeah, we'll do that. And those will take up target spots. So you do not want those to get in your way because you only want to target Leviatha. I do not care about defeating her babies. I just care about her. So I'm going to try and sort of lock her in place. Okay, Horatio can run 1, 2... Yeah, we're going to be able to lock her pretty well down here. And Helmetor, who does most of my damage here, should almost certainly be able to finish her off. And then the audience in-game will chant. I will chant along. Oh my gosh, one more turn. Unfortunately, Helmetor flinched when he got hit by something, likely this baby Celery Stick, but Leviatha is locked down. She is extremely low in health, and Pippi is ready to hit her right here. So, once the chapter is finished, or once the map is finished, listen closely, audience, and I'm going to chant along too.
Oh, yes!
Chug! 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 Well, that's right, audience at home. Your chanting has helped summon from the depths of Bloodbath Lagoon. You know him, you love him. He's Chog! I love this chapter so much. So yes, Chog is who we are here to see, sort of. Chog is not Yosef's friend, unfortunately. Yosef's friend, who we're looking for, is Uvulor, a little like tongue guy that you'll see firing bazookas at us. And Uvulor is the one who knows of the location of Yosef's eye. So we are here to see him. Unfortunately, he's being a little stinker and uncooperative. And so he's like, I don't want to tell you where Yosef's eye is, even though it would help save a child. So we are going to use the only tactic we know, brute force, in order to, force him to tell us where Yosef's eye is. I'm sure it'll work out fine. We can defeat a tentacle monster, right? Yes, actually. Yes, we can. Please give me 2 spawns. That's 3. Okay, that's the maximum number. Great. RNG is not my favorite this run. Wow! But yes, so the strategy for this map is twofold. One, the 4 humans are going to blitz for it, because the humans, if all of them hit a tentacle, are almost guaranteed to take it out. It's like a 90-something% chance to take it out if they all hit it in 1 turn. That's good. We like taking out our enemies. Meanwhile, Helmetor is going to have a very important job. He is staying in the back to take out these. These are a type of unit known as Octoclops. They are the most obnoxious thing in the entire game. I hate them so much. Yosef is already down, that's pretty bad, but Octoclops are even worse. So you can see already that they are having a pretty massive and annoying effect on my game. They are support units, Octoclopses, and they have 2 different effects they can apply. One is called Confusion. If a unit is confused, they'll have a question mark flipping back and forth in front of them, and that means that they might attack allies. So that's bad, but if we leave Helmetor back there alone, he won't have any allies nearby that he might have a chance to attack, so it's okay. The other effect, as this Octoclops is graciously demonstrating for us here, is called Painting. Painting is where a unit is temporarily turned from blue to red, or red to blue if you have them on your team, but I don't want to recruit any of these idiots because they're awful. So if a unit is painted, they become an enemy, and I don't get to control enemies. So a painted enemy will just, or painted ally will just stand there and do nothing for an entire turn. Their turn is basically gone in an instant, and it is extremely bad. So we want to take out all these Octoclopses as fast as possible, and usually what that means is having Helmetor just one-shot them. He got a really, really low damage roll on one of them there, and didn't kill it, but then also he got painted twice, so he lost 2 whole turns. This RNG right now is just some of the worst I've had in a very long time, if I'm being honest. Which, you know, marathon luck, I suppose, but in this case, it's a marathon submission luck. But just goes to show you that despite the worst that this game can throw at me, I'm very confident that I'll be able to finish this under an hour 17 is my estimate, which you'll notice beats the current next best time on the leaderboards. So I am really the only one who runs this game, and I run it to death because I love it so much. So, you know, all right. A couple more things to talk about now that we are getting into the final phase of this chapter. So, Chog is now fully exposed. We have taken off all of his tentacles, and it's now time to fight the main man himself. And what that involves is smacking Chog on his big mighty jowls, just like this, until he opens up and exposes Uvulor. When that happens, we have 1 turn to get as much damage off on Uvulor as possible. The logistics of it are, we actually have, you stand here, there we go. We have 1 time to damage him. After he takes damage, the very next turn, he will right back into Chog's mouth, and we'll have to do it all over again. So those are cycles. And what we typically want to do is beat Chog within 3 cycles. Unfortunately, since we're down Yosef, we are definitely going to be losing some of our DPS here. And this Pixie's really annoying too, actually. I think we have to risk being a little aggressive here and send Helmetor up to try and help out a different cycle. So yeah, now that Uvulor has taken some amount of damage, we did get good target prioritization from Pippi, good luck there. But he took some damage, he's gonna go back in 1 cycle down. That means hopefully 2 cycles to go, but we do still need to make damage numbers actually work out for that. So one more thing that I do want to talk about before we can easily hand it off to donations. Oh my god, the painting. Why? Octoclopses. One more thing to talk about quickly though, and that is healing. So since I ditched my cupcakes, we took them and we were like, whoop, don't need them. The only way for me to heal my units at this point is by leveling up. So leveling up, I threw the cupcake really far away. I'm not going to grab it again. By leveling up, a unit becomes fully healed, which is really, really nice because, you know, they are fully healed. So if I notice that a unit is extremely low, I might start actually throwing them into danger even further to try and get that extremely important level up heal on them. Like right now, Horatio is really going to want to kill this Pixie. You go over here, you go over here. There we go. I'm playing a little safe here because he is confused. So neither of them are going to get this kill. Oh, that's unfortunate because both of these two should be close to leveling up. But unfortunately, the reality has just not sunk in that for either of them yet. So we might lose another couple units here, but don't worry. Helmetor is so strong. He can basically one-shot the game. Or like, if I'm tactical in. So we are going to, you notice I was delaying a lot of turns to get Helmetor up. That's because Helmetor does so much damage that we are basically guaranteed a 3-cycle now, which is good. So while we finish off the 3-cycle and I hope for some level ups to heal my units, this is a great time for any donations that the marathon may have. Come on in and say hi. Well, figure out what I am doing about these level ups here. Oh, he's confused. That's really obnoxious. Okay, we're gonna send you. That'll work. One of these two is basically guaranteed to kill this. That wasn't a level? Oh boy. All right. What knockback? What's his health at? I might do another Helmetor turn here just to be sure that we finish him off this cycle. I really don't want to play another cycle. Yeah, this RNG has been stinky doo-doo. In fact, there's the level up, but it's on Helmetor. Wow. Goodness. Also, hi Enzo. I won't be talking to you a lot, specifically because I am doing a marathon submission. So, sorry. This is longer in what a marathon would be than I would usually say donations have. It is just that this is extraordinarily bad RNG. So, you go here, here, here. That almost certainly will do it though. Listen closely. Oh, he made the noise. He made the beautiful noise. That noise signifies that Uvulor has been defeated and Chapter 3 is completed. So, Uvulor is going to tell us where Yosef's Eye is, and we can continue on with our story and save Hansel from the giant space bear. Hooray! So yeah, you can already see though that RNG just explodes this game sometimes. And notably, my splits right above me have the best Chapter 3 I've ever gotten. So comparing against them is a little bit biased, but you know, sometimes this will happen. Don't worry about it. There are extremely rare situations that won't cause the run to be lost, but can cause me to lose 5 minutes at a time. Where are you gonna? It's where my house is north, right? Yeah, my house is north. Okay. Extremely rare situations that will cause me to lose like 5 minutes, but a lot of maps you can restart immediately, and therefore will only lose like 1 or 2 minutes on. So, no big deal about that. In terms of marathon safety, at least. I could also make backups as much as I want for each chapter because there are only 7 chapters. So this run, despite all the chaos in it, is definitely not like marathon unfriendly, believe it or not. So we're going to blitz on up here because chapters 4 and 5 always start up in the top, what direction is top left of the map. So I know to head my way up here, and this is unfortunately a pretty bad Randall spawn, but Mount Olympus will always be in the snowy corner of the map right up here. Grab a little bit more money. I'm going to destroy this man with nitro. Oh, can I not get through that? Game. All right, here we are. Yosef's Eye is right across this big rainbow bridge at Mount Olympus. The rainbow bridge is gone. Hold on. Hi, it's Jerkomedes again. Remember him from Chapter 2? He's back! Hooray! So, Jerkomedes has decided that he is going to, and I quote, borrow the rainbow bridge. And so we ask politely for him to give it back, and he goes, I will consider this if you bring me an orphan, because this game is very funny. So, we luckily know the exact location of Randall's Discount Orphanisms, with the one-stop shop for all your orphan needs. And here he is. The best joke in the game, in my opinion, is written on the ceiling of this building. I cannot scroll up to re-see it once this chapter is started, so take a look. God, the humor in this game. The humor in this game is so good. For anyone who hasn't played a Behemoth game, you need to play this. I'm skipping all the dialogue because it's faster too, but like, play this game and read the dialogue. The writers are so clever. There are a bunch of puns. There are a bunch of dumb dad jokes. It's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. Like, for example, these orphans. So obviously, you know, we're here to get an orphan, and luckily there's a 50% off deal. 2 orphans for the price of 1. How amazing! But you might be wondering, for example, how is this robot an orphan? That is actually talked about in the dialogue, because this robot lost its motherboard. Oh, I can't describe how good this game is. It's so good. But we are going to destroy some of these orphans because if you remember the recruitment mechanics, you can only recruit the last unit on a board, and we do need to bring an orphan to Jerkomedes. So, well, we got to eliminate all but one of these orphans. So first off, we're going to eliminate the mushroom. I do have another plushie of these. The mushrooms, as you notice, have a big head, and this is actually considered a helmet. So helmet smashers like Horatio and Pippi and Helmetor have will absolutely obliterate this unit type. Doing this with one hand because I'm holding the mushroom, but yeah, he's going to get bonked on the head. Boop, he's out of there. So that was really quick and easy. Next up, we are going to want to target this human. This human has a throwing weapon like Yosef, and that can be really annoying in enemy hands because enemy weapons that get thrown like to stun me for no reason. So we're going to try and get rid of him as well with Helmetor's Mondo damage. Nice. Then last, but certainly not least, we have the robot. And robots deal electricity damage, which I'll talk about the type system later, but as you can see, they can do a range attack that chains between enemies. They can do a, you stand here, there. They can do a melee attack that has a chance to stun. They have a couple of different annoying statuses. But now that we are done, we have recruited our orphan, which is this troll. But hey, 50% off, 2-for-1 deal. What about we grab this plucky, young little orphan named Cornelius Happy Days? He'll be a great choice for Jerkomedes for his old wrinkle heart, a lovable young orphan. Oh my god, lovable long orphan. But yes, so the troll we got, we could actually add to our party, and we might do that depending on what we end next, because trolls are pretty similar to Cyclopses, in that they have pretty high damage and pretty high health, and also take up 2 spaces in the party. So they're extremely similar unit types actually, but considering Helmetor is a boss, and I'm gonna grab the money for more nitro, but considering Helmetor is a boss and the troll that we just recruited is not, we're going to be probably sticking with Helmetor. And now we can make it back up to Jerkomedes. Unfortunately, I did need to use my nitro to destroy an enemy, so it's a slow walk, but here we are, deliver the orphan to Jerkomedes. I'm sure with a name like Jerkomedes, nothing will go wrong. We will totally break his heart of steel and reveal a heart of pure gold underneath. And he's going to donate all of his money to Prevent Cancer Foundation and will achieve world peace and everyone will be happy. And why is the ground shaking? Oh. Okay. Well, Jerkomedes is still a jerk. More news at 10. And we have to fight off some of his minions. But this is a great thing because it introduces us to more unit types. One of them in particular is really good, and it's not the Spidar. So Spidars are kind of like a support tank hybrid. Spidars can you move here, you move here. Okay. Spidars can put a friendly unit on their backs. They have a little saddle there, so you can ride around them. The Spidar will take the damage instead of the unit on its back. And if it's an archer especially, if archers don't move, they get double the amount of shots. So if a Spidar, or if an archer is on a Spidar's back, they don't need to move because the Spidar can do the moving for them. You move down here, you move down. We need to focus this Cyclops pretty hard. So yeah, Spidars are pretty tanky, but we're not going to let this archer get on top of it because that would be bad. And so we're just going to focus both of them down pretty quickly here. We also see a Cyclops on the enemy team. We have already talked about how strong Cyclopses are, but we're not going to be recruiting this particular Cyclops. You move here, you do there. So, we already have a Cyclops, and we have another option in that troll. We don't need another Cyclops. The big catch of this chapter is actually the Pixies. Pixies are the glass cannon race of this game. They have low health. That's it. That's their only downside. That is the only thing that might want you to say, I don't know if I'll take a Pixie. Their upsides, on the other hand, they have extremely high evasion. So they're often liable to dodge attacks, which can just make them somewhat tanky anyways by virtue of dodge tanking. So very, very good factor there. You kill this. Okay. They also have AoE fireball damage. You'll see them shooting out these fireballs, which explode on multiple tiles here. Watch this Pixie. Oop, and it also hits that tile, it also hits that tile, it also hits that tile. And you can see that dealt double-digit damage, similar to our Cyclops. So yeah, they just hit like trucks, but they only take up 1 space in your party. So we're not going to be wasting any space, quote unquote, by adding a Pixie. So, I don't know, they're just extremely high damage. They also have 3 base movement that I can upgrade to 4 by making them a hero unit to make them even stronger. So, yeah, we're going to absolutely be recruiting this particular Pixie. Boop. You don't need a net for this one because it's a gimmick of the chapter. Since you gave Jerkomedes an orphan, Jerkomedes is like, well, fine, I guess I might as well give you a unit back. How about a puppy? And so he puts a puppy mask on top of the unit, which we're going to be removing. That puppy helmet is bad. It slows down the unit, and we don't want that. So that means we basically get a free pixie here. There is actually a chance that you get a pixie in the orphan chapter as well, in which case you can run a double pixie strat, which is so good. But that's really rare. I'd say it probably happens at about 8% of runs. But we still do get a pixie from Chapter 4, Map 2. So yeah, that pixie is going to be our main for the entire rest of the game, because pixies are absurdly goated and absurdly sauced. Which, you know, I hope you want me to show it off, but one more thing that I want to talk about. I mentioned there are 5 overworld maps, and you don't just stay stuck to one. Usually, around this time of the marathon, or this time of the run, the bear will pick up and move the map. Actually, okay, it's almost certainly going to be after the next chapter, that the bear will move me to a new map. I was kind of hoping it would be there, because I don't like this spot. It's a little far away. I forgot to grab the pixie. Whoop, there we go. Grab the pixie. Whoop-doo. Give it a normal face, and by normal face I mean cannibal face, why not? And I know I got, yeah, Burning Vengeance. Oh, we got Burning Vengeance, what a good sword. Okay. So, after a little bit of party re-equipping, we are going to fill up on Nitro once again. I have a lot of money, this is good. And make our way off to Chapter 5. It's in the same location, back at Mount Olympus. We just need to give Jerkomedes a little bit of time to repair the bridge. I mean, he borrowed it instantly, but I guess he needs a little bit of time to repair it. Whatever, Jerkomedes, you're a jerk. But now that the bridge is totally repaired, we can make our way up to Mount Olympus and find Yosef's other eye. I'm sure you'll all love to see what the pixies are going to do as we get into this map right here. So, are you all ready? Prepare to see Pixie Dominance a little bit later, because Chapter 5. So, of the 7 story chapters in this game, most of them have 2 maps. The only exceptions are Chapter 2 that you saw earlier, which was the cupcakes all scrambling around. We just skipped that entire chapter by standing still. But the other discrepancy is this chapter, Chapter 5. Chapter 5 has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 5, but 4 whole maps that I need to complete. And the reason there are so many is because the first 3 of those are stealth maps. You only get Yosef, and he has to run around without fighting any enemies, just sneaking around a predetermined no RNG set of guard patterns. And that's bad. You might be thinking, Turtle, hold on. You've been like talking so much about the RNG this run so far. Why is it bad now that there's no RNG? Well, I talked earlier about how like the heart and soul of this speedrun is the RNG, how it makes it like a mini randomizer in a way, where you have to keep changing plans and thinking about things. Not in Chapter 5, Maps 1, 2, 3. There is a very fixed pattern that I'm going to be doing here. I've done it 100 times. I will do it 100 times more. So it's a little bit tedious in terms of a speedrun setting, even though these maps are pretty cool casually. But for a speedrun setting, this does make a great time for a couple of donations or announcements from the host. I will interrupt a couple times. The first time will be when Yosef is hit by a laser. But until then, the host can absolutely go off on whatever they would like to say, and I might also hydrate while I'm just resting my voice. So hydration is important. So yeah, donations in a marathon. Go here. I think I'm actually going to wait until the next big cutscene to actually take the drink, but... All right. I don't think I'm getting through all of that. I've done that before. Give it a whole bottle of water, but not right now. I had lunch a little bit ago, so my tummy is satisfied. Also, this is a very good stand-up and stretch break. I do need to be holding the mouse and making movements on occasion, but audience, yeah, stand up and stretch. It's healthy. Do it. Mm. Oh no, a laser. So couple things that the devs did to make this a lot more tolerable, especially for speedrunners, is one, after every map, you fully heal. So Yosef can just take that 54 damage, and as long as I don't get hit again on this map, which I'm not going to because I know all the patterns, we just get fully healed and it doesn't matter. So, hooray! And we can also, the other thing that the devs did is Yoked the Gnome right here. Oh, okay. His name is Yoked the Gnome, but Yoked the Gnome is funnier to say. If you get the key card on map 1, he lets you skip the entirety of map 2, which is absurdly long casually. At least in a speedrun context, if I were to do this, it would be absurdly long. But, you know, we just get to skip it, and that is A-okay by me. So, once again, donations can be read until an enemy unit shows up. Gasp! It'll happen soon, but take it away, donation host, reader, person, host. Thank you. Oh, words. Blah. Look at that! An enemy has appeared! It's the thing I said was going to happen. It's almost like I've played this game before. So this is Hall Minotaur. Hall Minotaur is the one and only source of RNG in the entire 3-map stealth section. And that's because he can knock us back here, which he didn't do. That is like, honestly, it's like a 15% chance to knock back. And if you do, you lose like a minute by redoing only this map. You don't need to redo the other stealth maps, just this one. But if he doesn't knock you back like that, which happens 85% of the time, you just get to walk on by, no biggie, no dealio, it's fine, it's chill. And so now we get into Chapter 5, Map 4. So after the stealth maps, we are rewarded with what is, in my opinion, the best map of the entire story. I love Chapter 5-4. There is so much going on. So, first and foremost, the launch pads, which you'll see me send Helmetor on right here. Boing! These launch a unit to the other quadrant of the map. So lower right launches him to somewhere on the lower left, and etc, etc. That allows slow units like Helmetor to really get schmovin' and get into battle as fast as possible. Another thing that happens is this. Every 3 turns, the wind will blow, changing the middle of the battlefield here, and knocking around every single unit. So what that means is it is a ton of that RNG chaos that I adore so much. I basically have to re-plan my tactics every 3 turns, depending on where the wind blows me. So I could be in a really bad position and then suddenly get launched into a really good one, or vice versa. There's so much like planning and tactics, and everything gets shuffled around every 3 turns. You have to re-plan and re-tactic and re-strategize. It's so good. I cannot describe to you that this game is just amazing. You go here, you go here. Okay. But the third thing that makes this map as amazing as it is our objective, the parachutes. So we need to escape Mount Olympus in story right now. And so the best way down, now that we've been caught and we're on lockdown, you can see the exit up here is closed. The game would show me that. Yeah, the doors up there are closed. You can barely see them, but there is this big hole in the floor that's kind of wide open. Wow, that's convenient. Why don't we jump down after we get parachutes? Luckily, OSHA does mandate that all employees who work in an area with a giant floor hole like this must at all times be wearing a parachute. OSHA additionally mandates if a unit is killed in combat, they must drop their parachute for the person who killed them to pick up. Thanks OSHA for that second mandate, by the way, because it means that once we defeat 5 enemy units, we can pick up 5 enemy parachutes and be unga bunga on our way. So that is exactly what I'm attempting here. I'm going to try and get all of my units into range of the parachutes. Oh, we're going to be so close. This should be the last parachute we need right here. There's a lot of strategy that goes into this, especially around Helmetor. You notice I gave him a parachute first because, again, he has 2 movement. He is slow. If the parachute is far away from him, it can take several turns to reach it, and sometimes the wind will blow, and then he can't get the parachute anyway. So, boop, boop, walk down here. You explode this man. Good job, Pixie. So yes, we now have 4 parachutes picked up, 1 on the ground. This has been an extremely good Chapter 5 Map 4. So I'm going to send my units down here to stall out Helmetor a little bit. You stand here, here. Grab the parachute. Okay. So yeah, Helmetor is like, hey, don't do that. I'm a good guy at something and trying to like defend the palace. Even though we're trying to save a child, we're the actual good guys, I promise. So now, after we get all of our parachutes and we're ready to jump, one last wrinkle. This giant floating baby head named Marshall appears and blocks off the gates. But if all of my units are going to be in positions where they're guaranteed to attack him, which I did just set up right there, you're basically guaranteed a 1-round Marshall, and that means Guarg, Arg, ah! Marshall is defeated, and we are home free to jump down to the world below. This is one of the chapters where we are teleported directly home. There is no need to walk home. And that does mean that we actually skip the animation for what I'm almost certain has happened, where I mentioned the bear picks up the city and moves it. Yeah, we're just skipping that animation. So we're almost certainly going to be in a new spot on the map here. So I do need to kind of lock in and try and figure out where we are within the 5 seconds before I start moving. And by 5 seconds, I mean 0.5 seconds, because I'm immediately going to be moving, because I'm a speedrunner and we like to move. Where are we? Which map is this? Golf course map? Okay, I know where we are. Cool. Yeah, this isn't a bad map. This is not a bad map at all. Just a little bit of a golf course. So right up here, grab the money lines. Because Yosef's Eye that we have found has now told us that was a gold split. That was a gold split Chapter 5. Wow. Yeah, that was a really good Chapter 4. Anyways, Yosef's Eye has told us that the spaceship that we are seeking is owned by none other than Jerkomedes here. Hey, that's a friendly, it's not friendly face, it's a memorable face. There we go, he is a memorable face. And so, in order to get a spaceship, we need Jerkomedes' help. Jerkomedes is currently here at Sunny Butts Day Spa, where he's having a nice, relaxing day at the spa, and he tells his attendants he wants no one to disturb him, not even that handsome fellow Horatio. But we need a spaceship to save a child. Remember, we're the good guys, so we are going to be disturbing him, unfortunately. These vases here, if you move into any hex that is adjacent to these vases, it will knock over the vase, it will break, and it'll go crunk, and like the guards will go, huh? What was that? And then they're Big the Cat, by the way. Froggy. They will come over, and we'll have to actually battle them. But if you can just avoid walking near any of the vases, this happens instead. So this is a sort of pseudo-stealth chapter, or stealth map, sorry. You can fight it normally, but in the sake of speed, we just skip all the bases. Jerkomedes says, "You have failed me, guards! Kaplow! Kaplow? Kablooey!" That's a better onomatopoeia. And now, we have to do a duel to the death with Jerkomedes. And there, you could bring up multiple units if you wanted, but Jerkomedes is a very, very trolly boss unit. Mostly because of that. That is a special property that only Jerkomedes has, and only when he's an enemy. So if you deal damage to him for the first damage instance on any given turn, Jerkomedes, instead of standing there like any other unit would be, he teleports. And he teleports to a random spot in a huge AoE. That's basically the entire top half of this map. So if you are coming at him with a lot of units, what often happens is your weakest unit, or one of your weaker units, hits him first, and then he teleports away, and then your stronger units just sit there and be like, oh, he teleported away. So instead, what we do for the speedrun is we just 1v1 him with the Pixie, just like that. That was beautiful RNG. In fact, he teleported 1 tile away on that last hit, so he was still within the AoE of the fire, and then he got hit by the AoE of the fire. Great stuff. But one more property that we didn't actually get to see there because that fight was over so quickly. Jerkomedes, his weapon, and when he teleports, he inflicts the confusion debuff that I mentioned earlier with Octoclopses, with the flipping question mark, which means you can attack your nearby allies, which is bad. Luckily, again, if you attack with just one unit like we were doing there, you don't have to worry about hitting your allies because your allies are super far away. Like, hi there. Yeah, your allies are super far away. You don't need to worry about attacking them. Can I make it through this gap? Yes, I can. Okay. I'm going to get you out of the way. There we go. So yeah, after we defeat Jerkamides, he runs out of magic, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm out of magic! I must flee to my home, the Jerk Dome!" And then he flees to his home, the Jerk Dome. Hey, that rhymes. But we still need that spaceship. Like, again, to save a child. So we chase him here, and now we get to the hardest chapter in the speedrun. Everyone, please pray for good RNG here. Please, 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 please. Okay, that's good. That's good-ish. So, at the beginning of this chapter, Jerkamides spawns in addition to anywhere between 4 and, I can't make that on one hand, 7 robots. And robots are extremely scary. They're extremely scary because of the elemental system in this game, which I mentioned earlier. And so let's talk about that more. So, for example, pixies deal fire damage, and the Burning Vengeance here, the sword Horatio has, also deals fire damage. Fire deals bonus damage against units with fur, like trolls, which we'll see in a sec. And by a sec, I mean a couple minutes, don't worry about it. But on the other hand, you have you have robots who deal electricity damage. And electricity deals bonus damage against pixies. So you'll notice I'm playing extremely cautious right now with my pixie, because pixie can get blown up very, very quickly by pixies can get blown up extremely quickly if they get targeted by the robots. And the AI does know this. The AI will prioritize hitting the pixie, so we're going to see, yep, right there and there. So yeah, you'll see it taking double damage, even more than double damage sometimes. So yeah, having a bunch of robots spawn in is not a fun thing to happen if you are a pixie main like I currently am. But with some careful precautions, we will be able to get to phase 2 here. And the way that you trigger phase 2 of each wave is by either defeating half of the opponents or getting Jerkamides to half health. So getting one guy to half health is often easier than defeating, a bunch of units. So we just beat up on Jerkamides for a bit, and then all is good. And then all is good in the world. I'm going to play it risky with the pixie here, specifically because I think I can get away with it. Is that a dumb idea? Maybe, but... Okay, we're not maybe going to get away with it. After he teleports away, we need to start destroying his house, because that's the best way to get someone to help you, right? You destroy their house. So we have 4 machines that the game has tasked me with breaking. I'm actually going to have you destroy that robot to try and level up off of it. We're not going to destroy this turn, but I'm playing it safe with the pixie here because we really don't want to lose pixie. That level up will keep it at, or bring it back to full health, so don't really need to worry about pixie a ton. That damage is not great, but again, definitely not the worst. You are here, blow this up, and then you two, okay. We should be able to take out the machine here with everyone working on it. Great. That is wave 1. That's the scariest wave because of all the robots, but whew, we have cleared that out. And now wave 2 begins. So the same thing is going to repeat here. But instead of robots, Jerkamides is going to summon humans for wave 2. And yeah, those are not nearly as scary. So we either have to defeat half of these humans or half of Jerkamides' HP. So we're almost certainly going to be doing the latter here. I can move Pixie to you. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. But yeah, since this one is definitely not nearly as threatening, in a marathon run, this is probably a decent time for the host to take over and say a couple more words. Once I finish off wave 2 by destroying the next 4 machines is when I will take up my commentary mic once again and begin to just blab on and on and on and on. Let's see. You. That'll work. Ah, yes. Half Jerkamides' health. All right. Good. Good level up on Yosef. He's now at full health. All right, we are finished now with wave 2 and on to the third and final wave. So wave 1 was robots. Those were scary, but mostly because of just the pixies double damage that it takes. Wave 2 is humans. Those are fine. Wave 3, on the other hand, oh, this one is kind of cruel. The devs knew what they were doing here. So we see Cyclopses, who I mentioned are extremely strong, extremely tanky, just generally big, beefy boys. We also see Pixies, who I mentioned are the glass cannon race of this game. So they deal quite a bit of damage and are pretty evasive. And then the last unit we see him spawn are these mascots. Mascots themselves are not some of the strongest units in the games, but they are buffers. They buff nearby allies. So they make everything else stronger. And then Jerkmedes ratchets it up a notch by also deploying trolls, which, like we mentioned earlier, are pretty strong, almost like Cyclopses, also have a lot of health, a little like Cyclopses. They're not as good, but they regenerate, which is something I didn't mention. And Jerkmedes only spawns them in for 1 out of every 3 turns. The other 3 turns, they don't exist on the map, but they still regenerate. It is extremely like smart game design of the devs. Just throw these regenerating enemies, super strong enemies, and buffer units. This is just extremely well-designed gameplay. But because I already know what I'm doing, and because I got so much damage on him, Jerkmedes in Wave 2, that it overflowed and immediately triggered the end sequence for Wave 3, we're basically just done already. So as soon as I destroy this last machine, we have destroyed Jerkmedes' home for the side of justice! Hooray! He's going to once again teleport away from a falling rock, and we're going to destroy his bedroom. The good guys! And another rock will fall on him here, and it's revealed. Jerkmedes, before, when we knew him, he was an evil master jerk wizard! Now that his hat has been knocked off, he is an evil master not jerk wizard! Which is great! Because now that he's not a jerk, he will, in fact, lend us his spaceship, and we'll be able to fly up to space and defeat the giant space bear and save our sun, which is the whole goal. You remember this when I talked about it an hour ago. But yeah, it was only 50 minutes ago. You're smart enough, dear audience, to remember things that happened 50 minutes ago. I'm sure of it. Yes, we also do recruit Jerkmedes. He joins our party. We don't care. We already have all the humans we need. If he was a pixie, that would be amazing. But he is simply a human. And so we're going to go back to our base one last time. And then we will begin Chapter 7, the final chapter of Pit Pupil. I need a straight line to use my nitro down. There we go. That'll work. Bip, bip. Use another one here. Go down and around. Okay. So yeah, like I said earlier, I don't exactly like this spot. It's not the worst, for sure, but Chapter 7 does always spawn on the very far right of every single map. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, full nitro, and we're going to use some of that in order to get all the way left in order to finish off the game. So the spaceship is actually the jerk dome itself, the thing that we were destroying. We almost destroyed our own chance at survival, or not survival, at vengeance, retribution, whatever saving a child from a kidnapper is called. We almost ruined our chance of doing that, but luckily the jerk dome does have a repair function on it, so it can and has already self-repaired and is ready to bring us to space, which is good. So we're going to go all the way over here, take out this enemy, and by take out I just mean stun it so it can't come at us. I want to save 6 nitro for the ending sequence, so I'm going to do that right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Just walk my way over to the jerk dome to begin Chapter 7. Warning, completing this quest will complete the game. We're very close, dear friends. And so we get a quick meetup with all of our friends and allies that we made along the way. The Helmetites, who since we recruited their leader, they're homies with us. The Chog Worshipers are like, yo, you guys beat up Chog. That's pretty cool. We're friends now too. And so all of us pack into the Jerk Dome and fly up to the bear. We are now on its fur. Hi, this is a bear. It's a space bear. And the final chapters involve attacking the bear's little stars that it has. You can see them. Yeah, little stars. We need to attack them in order to get the bear's attention, so it will give us back Hansel, our son. We will save you, Hansel, with the help of our allies. Or with little help from our allies, because they're all cowards and like to flee at the sign of any danger. Either or. So yeah, our AI allies here, the ones with the dark blue hexagons, I don't control them. They just kind of run around, and sometimes they distract a bunch of enemies, which is great. Sometimes they do absolutely nothing, which is not great. Actually, Horatio, you move here, you go here, you go here. Yeah. But the big thing, and one of the reasons why Pixies are hands down the best unit in the speedrun, is this map. Because I mentioned earlier that Pixies deal bonus damage against fur. And that's not just units that have fur. It's also environments that contain fur. Like a giant space bear, perchance. So yeah, Pixies will blow up the fur so quickly. And they also get, AoE, like I mentioned. So they blow up even more fur. And can just blitz through this chapter with a little bit of good luck. Unfortunately, the targeting of the Pixies is, like I mentioned way earlier, this was actually an hour ago, random. So sometimes they'll attack the fur you want. Sometimes they'll turn around and be like, oh, there's a fur behind me. I want to attack that. And it's like, no, that's not what we need to do to speedrun, please. But it's fine, because their AoE does help way more than it hurts. And so we're going to be using them as best as we can to blow our path forward without getting too body blocked by the enemies. Of course, these enemies are incessant about body blocking me. They really want to protect the bear. And we really want them to not protect the bear. So I'm going to kind of ditch these enemies over here. Hope that they'll maybe get aggroed on Yosef and these AI NPCs. While in the meantime, we can explode our way to the north. And look, we've already managed to explode our way to the north. Perfect. So yeah, the big strategy of this chapter, just like chapter 1, Unga Bunga strats, we're going right back to it. Unga Bunga strats, take this Pixie and yeet it straight into the enemy star, because they will clear all the fur, it will do a lot of damage, it's just good. And also has my hero buff, like I mentioned way earlier, so it is faster than your normal units. Yeah, Pixie is goated with the sauce. So, unfortunately, you can see our AI friends being cowards, they're all retreating back here. And that means it's pretty much just my 5 units against the world, as we do have to deal with a mini-boss as well, Ursa Minor. This is a mascot. Like I mentioned last chapter, they're buffing units, but notably, something I didn't mention about them, if you kill them, they violently explode and deal like 50 damage, same thing as these TNT hair bombs do. It is a lot. They are extremely deadly. So we actually don't want to fight the mini-boss at all, just because he has a chance to explode and kill all my units. And that would be bad. So instead, we're going to just ignore him and blitz to the end. And that actually brings me to the math of this game. So since everything is attacked randomly, all that I have to do at this point is just a lot of quick calculations in my head about which spot has the highest chance for the Pixie to target something good. There are a lot of good targets up here, and there's also a bad target right here. Unfortunately, my Pixie decided the bad target, but this spot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 furs it can target. This spot has 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to target this spot to try and get the Pixie the maximum chance of hitting this fur right here. That is a great fur to hit, and I want to hit it ASAP as possible. So yeah, a lot of these calculations just to try and get the Pixie to hit the star or the fur in front of the star as much as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pixie can stand here next turn. That has 1, 2, 3 spots I can hit, and 2 of those spots are right next to the fur. So we are really going to want to move our Pixie right there next turn. I'm doing that every single turn to try and just maximize my Pixie's effectiveness. It'll become even more important next map. But until we get to the next map, this is probably the final time in the run, which is a good place for any words from a wonderful, lovely host-type person. Would you believe it? Host, do your thing! And I'm going to one last time rest my lovely, beautiful little voice. These enemies are getting too close for comfort right now. You much prefer to have the enemies not be up in your business, because you don't want to target them. You want to target the star. That is the only objective, is to target this star and destroy it. That knockback from the bear hit was actually extremely good, as it knocked back one of the enemies. So we don't have to worry about that one anymore. We can just start hitting the star. Just like that, which does luckily send out heal ripples to slowly start healing your team. But quadra-kill. Wow, that was my AI cleaning up some of the goobers down here, probably. I guess I killed one of them myself with Helmator, because, again, he does big damage. He's not that great in this chapter, specifically because he is so far away from the action. And we really want him, because he's so slow. So, the best thing that you can usually do with him is have him slowly march forward. And delay the enemy AI, but occasionally you'll get him all the way up here. Usually getting him all the way up is actually a sign of bad luck in that you didn't target the star fast enough, but next turn for surezies. And the host could also have been reading something that entire time, but I don't know, I felt the silence was a little awkward and I just wanted to no in my mouth. Now the star is destroyed. Hooray! We get a little bit of cutscene, and then we are into the final map. Chapter 7, Map 2. And, conveniently enough, this map does fully heal all of our units, so no matter how much damage we took, we are good to go right now. We do lose all of our allies, but again, they're kind of cowards, so we don't care about them. We can do everything we need ourselves, especially because I've played this game a time or two, and I know of an event. No, you go here, 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 here. There we go. That's my open. We know of an event that's going to happen on this map, and since I know it's happening in advance, I can plan around it and use it to my absolute advantage. And that event is the Turn 3 lawnmowers. So, you stand... I think we want here... Yeah. The Turn 3 lawnmowers. So, after Turn 3 is finished, an event will happen with these lawnmowers. You can see them ahead of time. You might not know that they're going to happen on your first run. And they will go through and knock back all units in their path and destroy all fur in their path. So, we want to destroy fur, and we also don't want units in our way. So, we are going to bait these two to stand in this position. I was hoping to get the Gorgon to stand right there, but unfortunately it won't. But the mowers will now come through. Enemies will respawn too, but we don't really care about the reinforcements. We just care about this. They cut a path through, they knock back the units in our way, they even juggle one unit twice. Now look at that. The Pixie has a straight path to the end, and so does Horatio, who I gave a fire sword, because again, effective damage against fur. That's all we need is to destroy the fur. So Pixie's going to yeet right on up. He's going to follow. I'm going to try and get these three to help as much as they can, but for the most part, they're probably going to be distracting enemies, while these two deal all the hard work. Unfortunately, while it looks like a clear shot, there is one last roadblock. The final boss of this game, Ursa Major. Ursa Major is a type of unit known as a Troll Mom. And Troll Moms are kind of like raid bosses. They have a ton of health. They spawn little extra units right there. That mom just dropped her baby into a bear trap. Mother of the year. You don't see me crawling on you because I'm not a giant space bear, dude. Come on. Think with your little bear, space bear brain. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, raid bosses, spawn minions, have a ton of health, and respawn. But you might have just noticed taking a ton of damage. Troll moms have fur, which is weak to fire, and also troll moms have 3 spaces, which means they're weak to AoE damage. So a pixie with fire AoE damage is just an absolute counter to everything that the troll mom is going to try and do, which is great because we don't even need to fight the final boss. We just need to destroy this fur right here. So, oh, that was a huge wipe. This spot right here is a guaranteed chance unless the mom spawns a baby over here. Okay, spawned a baby into a bear trap. Lol. Mother of the year. She has done absolutely nothing. She has not attacked any of our units. Mother, no, you stand here. You stand here. Okay, we should just be good. Because once we destroy this final fur right here, it's a bomb! Wait, there we go. It's a bomb! Everyone get down! Hooray! So, as the bear explodes, some story happens. Specifically, time travel. This is the beginning of the intro that we skipped earlier in the menus because intro's slow. But we get to see a little bit of it again. And because I'm skipping the dialogue so fast, the dialogue breaks a little bit. The game's devs kind of expect you to read things. But yes, the speckled horse granted Horatio the power to you have a wish, and he wished to go back in time so he could save all of his friends and his son from ever getting kidnapped and killed in the first place. So this is the intro. You actually are allowed to use nitro in this section. Usually you wouldn't have any nitro in the intro, but we time traveled back there and somehow had our nitro from before the time travel. By the way, time is in 3, 2, 1, now. Ta-da! So yeah, we time travel back, we save all of our friends, everyone is happy. The space bear, who I threw very far away, is very happy as well. You can definitely hear it in the dialogue, but it's fine. Surely everything is fine, and there isn't a slightly faded out question mark on this screen at all. No. It's fine, because that is the any % run of Pit People. So, shoutouts, first and foremost, to Will Stamper, the voice actor who I skip all of the dialogue for and mess up all the dialogue for at the end, but phenomenal voice acting in this game, phenomenal writing, story. It's so good. Please play this game if you haven't. If like humor is your thing, if this looks interesting to you in any way, play this game. There's so many side contents, there's side quests, side content, overworld missions, so much to do that I can't show off at any % because we just gotta go fast to the end. But yeah, this game is great. Shout out to the Behemoth for making A+++ tier game, S tier game, SSS tier game. How many tiers can we go? The topmost tier. Okay. Shout outs to my cousin Bebro29, who played this game co-op casually. This game does have a co-op mode, which gets you twice as many units on the battlefield. It's so chaotic, it's great. And who I also forced to speedrun this game with me for the any % co-op. Even though he's not a speedrunner, he agreed to that, so thank you, Bebro. You're awesome, cuz. And shout outs to Huffnut, who is the only person I have ever met who has brought up this game to me before I brought it up to them. This game is criminally underrated. Please play it. But with that, I have been Turtle Run 2412. If you want to catch more silly games and Metroidvanias, that is kind of my speedrun specialty. Check me out at twitch.tv.com/TurtleRun2412. Or is it twitch.tv? It's not twitch.tv.com. Twitch.tv/TurtleRun2412 for more speedruns, Metroidvanias, and general goofiness, because silly games, silly runner, hooray! But yeah, that is about it. Awesome Games Done Quick 2026 submission team, thank you so much for considering Pit People for your marathon. This game is super fun, and I hope I will see you at Awesome Games Done Quick. Until then, bye-bye. Also, remember to stand up, stretch, and hydrate. Do those things. Stand up, stretch, hydrate. Bye. Hooray!